What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Just last night, I was having a conversation, and I made it brief during that conversation. And I was talking about Black History Month, and I was talking about how a lot of people wasn't really celebrating it the way they formerly had. And I think there's a potential that they could make, the funding, things like that away. And as I was having that conversation last night, I got offline and I was kind of like enthralled, not in anger, but I saw it as an indication that there's a possibility that I might be right. I said, I might be right, and they might pull some of the funding for some of that stuff for Black History Month. I just said this last night. You can go look. Before I share any of this, before y'all do all that, I want y'all to understand a lot of y'all are able to talk, walk, have the bravado that you do, say the things you do online because of men like Jesse Jackson, whether you know it or not. Yeah, that man's sitting right there in that hospital bed. And a lot of people will disagree with that, but I would then raise a hand and I would say, well, what about Martin Luther King and all these people, whatever? And something that worries me is that all this work these men put in, and this is why I say some of the things I say, because I learned from example. See, it don't take too many times where you see the same repeated behavior over and over and over, and you get, hey, this might be like that. Men like Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, whether you like him or not, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, many of the others, they're gone or on the way out the door, if you want to say. Hey, Ruby Johns, how you doing? And so, with that said, it's unfortunate because who will replace them? So I woke up this morning and I first seen, and I want to add, Al Sharpton has done a press release for this, which I may or may not play. It depends on how the flow goes here. But Al Sharpton actually did a press release for it, answered mostly white press. I'm gonna have to say it like that. Nobody get offended. But he was basically answering to the white press junkets. And I said, well, where's the black press junkets? Don't they want to be there to hear Reverend Al? And there was none available. It looked like it. Because when I looked at the additional streams, it was this outlet, this outlet, this outlet. It's covering the same stream, but multiple different outlets and agencies. So it was all the major outlets. They were all there, the CNNs, the NBCs, the MSNBCs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They were all there covering what happened to Reverend Jesse Jackson. But I looked at some of your favorite bloggers this morning. And the only one that I saw that had something to say about it, shout out to you, Ebro. Ebro not only titled the show that, Ebro spoke extensively about Reverend Jesse Jackson and his leniency or whatever. So I'll raise this question to you and I say this to you. If you forget who Reverend Jesse Jackson is, don't be surprised if they forget about you. You're setting up a momentum here. You had people like Roberta Flack, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and tons of other people die last year, and half of y'all can remember their names because you live in such a speed, red fast society nowadays. It tells you and dictates to you that you should only have attention momentarily and quickly. Within a 30-second span, it'll be deduced down to sooner or later. I think it's only even be headed towards a 15-second span. But it's sad to see that some of these people outside of Ebro, you know what they were uploading? Updates about Brorella. Go look for yourself. Updates about Brorella. There was another updating what had happened with Michael Jordan, which I may or may not post that later. There was people. What else did I see? Oh yeah, they were uploading about Cardi B. It was everything except for Reverend Jesse Jackson. And it wasn't like they didn't know because every major media outlet they had it listed as their title. Some of them even had 4 or 5 stories on it so far this morning. But the average African American that is a blogger hasn't had one. And that's where perception comes in. See, perception allows people to dictate who you are moving forward. Perception allows people to take advantage of whether they should take you seriously or not in a more linear, broad sense. A lot of you think within the criteria of it's just you in this country, and it's not. For a lot of people here, the Reverend Jesse Jackson died. I hate to say it like this. Some of his long-standing opposition, he had a lot of things going, a lot of a lot of legislation, excuse me, a lot of influence throughout Congress, throughout just on his heresy of who he was. Just that standing alone, the man marched with King. Now, many African Americans, they won't believe that. Some will even be jealous of the power that he had. But he had it. And that's him right there sitting on his deathbed. And that's Reverend Jesse Jackson, as you can see, holding his hand. Now, if you see the picture that I put up there, and I put that up there for a reason, it's because I said this, and I'll say it again. Who's going to be there when you build up everything that you have, and the momentum that you guys are setting up is, okay, when these guys go, who cares? That's the same thing I'm going to say about you. You may live a life of luxury and tapestry compared to what many of you come from, but right remains, they're going to forget about you too, as you taught them this. You taught them this. Let me share this real quick. I want to get this out to some people, get the idea in their head. We're going to talk about you guys. I'm sharing this. If you can't wait, that's fine too. But this will get shared to people that do want to. I lost everybody because I wanted to share. Told you they don't really care about. I lost everybody because I wanted to share. Told you they don't really care about Jesse Jackson. They don't care about any of this stuff. I lost everybody just now because I said, let me share this so I can continue the conversation about Reverend Jesse Jackson. And instead, everybody jumped out the chat. Isn't that sad? And it confirms what I was saying. Let me make sure I do that. I just shared this. And before I shared this, I said people's attention spans are reducing from 1 minute to 5 minutes to, excuse me, from 1 minute to 30 seconds to 15 seconds about how they feel about their own leaders and people that have paved the way for them. Jesse Jackson, what can you say bad about him? He was one of the first people that ran for president that was black. Well, I mean, there was another woman back in the 60s, but I mean, visibly, the country recognized it was him. And I said, let me share this real quick and I'll be right back. And people didn't even care enough for that. So I could get more people here to listen. They don't care. And many of y'all are living by old decorum. And I understand because I come from it too. I come from the church. I come from aunts and uncles who've been married for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I come from that. And so I understand you, but this is not the world we live in anymore. They are going to forget about Reverend Jesse Jackson. As sad as it may sound, they are going to forget about him, and they're going to voluntarily forget about him, just like they forgot about Roberta Flack, just like they forgot about Malcolm Jamal Warner, just like they forgot about a lot of other people that passed away last year. They're going to forget about him. And what I counter in that conversation is, if you build up this type of environment, they will forget about you too. They're going to forget about you too. And that's a sad thing about it. I was disgusted when I woke up during Black History Month, and one of the premier poobahs of this whole thing, that man laying right there in that bed. And what a friend, and what lucky it is to have a friend. That's why I'm using this picture, because I want people to see how lucky it is to have a friend. You see Al Sharpton right there? If you look at the picture that's in the headliner here, you'll see him and Al Sharpton back in the day. I think that picture was taken back in 80 something. And you'll see him back in the day. And it's crazy because that's the same man years later that will be holding his hand. That's a recent picture. I want you to log that into your head. Make sure at the very end you got at least two friends. A family member of mine passed away not too long ago. And he was by himself when he passed away. And this was a direct relative of mine. And I hadn't cried in a long time, and a tear came down my face. I ain't spare you. This is a man I grew up with. This is my mama's family. You know what I'm saying? And I shed a tear for that. Subsequently, 2 days later of this week, literally this last night, another kid that I've known since he was 16 years old was shot down and killed and nobody knows who the murderer is. In a town I used to live out here in Connecticut, which Lil Greg R.I.P. man, for real. The whole town mourning for you. There's niggas out riding around, if you know what I mean, looking, seeing what they scope. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about the police. Trust me. Good luck to y'all. Because Lil Greg didn't deserve that. This man had literally just got out of prison the week before. And everybody kept writing that. He was rolling around town, man. He just got out, you know. And he was trying to do right by himself. And to get caught up in something like that is crazy. People, if you keep promoting that your people personally, or people like Reverend Martin Luther, excuse me, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and all these people who marched for Martin Luther King aren't that important, then what you're going to subsequently see is major media outlets are going to say they're not important. And then you're going to set a temperament for the younger kids. They're not important. They're not important. I was surprised when you'll sit in the club and listen, strumming my bass with his finger. But when Roberta Flack died, y'all see actually Lauryn Hill at Roberta Flack's funeral singing, it don't click with y'all and be like, okay, maybe this one was more important than we thought. Nobody remembers her. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Cosby Show. Some people's disdain for Bill Cosby made them say Malcolm Jamal Warner ain't worth listening to. These were women saying this because of what happened with Bill Cosby. And that momentum went so far up that they forgot him. They'll forget Bill Cosby too when he goes. They won't remember anything that Bill Cosby did that was good. They'll only remember that one moment that was career defining for him, which is the sexual allegations of him going to jail. Your ambitions are now becoming a problem that needs to be rectified and very quickly. And unfortunately, unlike the OGs of my period, what are y'all? Some of y'all like in your 60s, maybe late 60s, something like that now. The young G's that are in their mid 40s, mid 50s, even about to hit 60, these niggas are weak. I can't get a band of niggas to walk through the streets with me. I had to realize that unless they my niggas. I can't get a band of niggas to say, yo, let's go down here and talk to these youngins real quick and put something in their head because niggas are scared. Captain Tazarak, I think that's how you pronounce your name in Harlem. He's on the only man I've seen that can do that. Been the only man to see, agree with his religion, don't agree with his religion. Captain Tazarak, he's the only person I've seen like that. It's kind of like in the movie Malcolm X when Malcolm went like this in front of the police station. You ain't seen a man with that type of power in a minute. So I see all these black media outlets this morning, and they paying attention to everything what's going on with Barilla, with Jay-Z on Epstein Island, all this other stuff that they paying attention to. It was people, their first story this month was rebuttals about Vlad TV. That was their first replies this morning. Was a reply, no offense to you, Vlad, love you to death, but a reply to a Russian man doing Black History Month. That was their main priority in doing Black History Month. One of the icons that even attributed to what you now have as Black History Month, revered and passed away. And you guys had nothing to say about it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's sad, man. And that's why I say I don't get mad when I be on here anymore and nobody hits the like button and nobody donates to me or nothing like that. I find that this, you showing me your character. You're showing me who you really are. And there's a lot of fake stuff that's going on out here. And people are pretending like they care, whatever, whatever. I tell you, watch their behavior. Watch their behavior. If you watch the behavior of a lot of people that's here online with us or whatever, whatever, you'll see that a lot of these people are fake. And they don't care about the culture. They don't care about progression. Only thing they care about is talking. Where is the FBA conglomeration this morning? Y'all should have been on this story 3 hours ago. Where is the FBA coalition on this position? Where is the Tariq Nasheed post? Where is the Dr. Umar post because I looked for him, I ain't see him. And you two should have been the main two talking about it. You know, I know Zoe Williams will be on it. I know Corey Holcomb will be on it tonight, of course. But I asked, where's the rest of you? And it's sickening because it scares me because I'm like, you know what? You can have whatever type of attributes, contribute contributions to the culture or whatever, whatever. And at the end of it all, they will forget you. They will forget you and be ready to replace you with somebody else. They'll say, well, that's the new so and so. You never hear anybody say, oh, that's the new Picasso. You ever heard somebody say that? You never hear somebody say, oh, that's the new whoever from whatever culture. You never hear nobody saying that. You never hear anybody saying that. But Black Americans and Latin Americans both have adapted this thing where they want to be so inclusive and be recognized from other cultures that they're willing to sacrifice their own. And that's scary, man. That's scary as fuck. And I think about that. I'm like, if I go and they remember me, and at this moment, yeah, I'm gonna be remembered by my close ones and everything like that. But I just think in a broad sense of things, as far as the culture, contributing to the culture, getting people hired or whatever, whatever. I've literally bought people on television shows. Literally. I've literally got three people that still work in the music industry because of people I introduced them to on a Harvard and have thanked me, but won't come over here and donate $50 to me, but be over at somebody's page where they're gossiping like they was doing this morning and avoiding the story about Jesse Jackson and instead inquiring and going in on gossiping because gossiping brings them in money. These stories don't. These stories don't bring in money. And this is why many of those bloggers chose not to talk about it. And it's sad, man. That's why I said, in moving on in the future, it's no reason for me. If y'all know my history, you can go back. Just put in the date and put in my name, put in the date February and put in 2024, put in 2023 behind it. And I guarantee you what'll pop up is the places I went for Black History Month. And now the person, and that was when I first saw the difference. I said, okay, y'all only respect me for going to where Malcolm X was killed at. I went to the Alderman Ballroom, did the whole walk through there, whatever, whatever. The second one I did two joints there. The second one I did, and I think Ruby Johnson was there with me. If she's still here, she was there with me on that line. She's been a follow with me for a very long time, and she can correlate this for you if she's still here. But I did it twice, and no contributions, no donations, whatever. Later on that night, that same night, I went live, and they were talking about at the time they were just started talking about Puff. And there was a certain person that was on there gossiping about Puff. $100 donation, $50 donation, $25 donation. And she was just talking very crass and nasty and belligerent and at the time. And I said, wow, this is what they're more into. They're into salaciousness, gossip, and everything else. They're not really with uplifting people. They use the uplifting people part to make it seem like it's believable, but really it's a card. It's 3 card Molly, you see. And so I said, wow. So what we do is we pimp black as a matriarch in the conversation, but in reality, nobody care about that. That's the hustle. Don't nobody care about that, really, right? And the moment we can really say that and just stick by it, I think it would be better off. I'd rather y'all tell me, yo, we really don't care about the culture. Why don't you just tell them that? Say, yo, I don't care about the culture. I'm really here just getting my money. See, I'm real about mine. I'm like, yo, I live in New York City, tri-state, dog. It's expensive as hell to live up here. Okay. Hey, Ruby, do you remember when I went to I'm pretty sure you were there, but I went to both of them. I went to Seneca Village. I don't know if you remember some of these, but I went to Seneca Village. I went to and I think that's the one you donated when I went there the second time, when I went to the Alabama Ballroom, where Malcolm X was shot and killed. The podium is still there. when Malcolm was shot and killed, that they marked it on the thing. So I was actually standing in the place when Malcolm was shot and killed. This is legendary stuff, if my mind's concerned. But to the so-called culture, it wasn't. They could care less. Even the older ones, they could care less. So I started getting mutters then that it's not the culture that people worry about. It's about preservation pockets, and they're using that as a clutch to get to the preservation of their pocket. She said, "See, yes, I remember when you was there. Thank you very much." See, like it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And Ruby, you remember, ain't nobody donate to me, I think, but you and one other person. It was over 4,000. There were 4,000 people after the clip was over. I stood there for 2 hours. It was crazy. And even to this day, um, every time I've been slandered, it seems to be the problem with me is that one group of people they don't get me because I guess my accent a little bit has to do with the way I look, a little bit has to do with the way I talk. Some people from different locales that are kind of softer in the United States, they feel I'm a little too abrasive. They all have a different opinion of me, but one that seems to be the most one that they try to attack me on, and I think they try to attack Martin on. They try to attack um, Jesse on. They try to attack definitely Malcolm X. They've tried to attack Kanye West on it or whatever. You always hear this stroke come up. He too cocky. He too big for his britches. We need to bring him down a little bit. They all get this from the plantation. I swear to God to you. They get it from the plantation. Where they get that mentality from. He acted too big for his britches. We need to bring him down a tick. They used to do this to Malcolm. They used to do this to Jesse. So they know the play. Some of you men get it done to you. I'll give you an example. You ever have your best shit on and you walk past a group of women, they just happen to be of black descent or Latin descent or whatever, whatever, and you're not a ultra light skinned man with straight hair, whatever, whatever. Some of them women will make fun of you and they'll be like, why he got that on for? Like you are not deserving of having that on. But if you around them and they dress nice, you better tell them they look nice or it's going to be a problem. Ever experienced this? This is a glitch to fuck with your self esteem. See, once I get your self esteem in order, then I can control you. I've seen people do this a million times, so I know it when I see it. It's crazy, but it's the truth. I'm not gonna sit here and go through the whole history of the Rainbow Coalition. I'm not gonna sit here and go through the whole history of Jesse Jackson marching because everybody knows it. I'm not gonna go through the history of a lot of things that are obvious to the public. And if you don't, you need to go educate yourself on Jesse Jackson. I'm not here to luckily this introduce you to Jesse Jackson if you never heard of him. But what I am here to do is here to acknowledge him and demolish him for the man that he was across the country. The man that is responsible for a lot of the reasons why y'all can talk the way that y'all talk nowadays and not be hindered by rules and regulations and things of his day that he had to go through, censorships and things like that. And I just find it this appalling, man, that more people this morning was talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson. I saw the same thing what happened. Malcolm Jamal Warner was out here. I saw the same thing with Roberta Flack. I said these people have worked for decade upon decade, pioneers, and people will forget them in 10 minutes. You go mention. Let me tell you something. You go to the white community, and I live in a white community, so I can tell you. You go. My whole state. I live in Connecticut. My whole state is mostly white. It's 37% Italian, just to give you some indication of demographics here. I can honestly and truthfully say this. If you go to a white crowd and you say, and there was a black friend of mine that introduced me to Amy Winehouse, but if you go in front of a white crowd and you scream Amy Winehouse or whatever, whatever, they're going to be able to regurgitate, even request her songs, whatever, whatever. If you scream out Amy Winehouse, if you scream out any pioneer musician like Elvis or whatever, whatever, in front of a white crowd, there's a very big chance they're going to want a commentation of all their music played. Being like, yo, play Stairway to Heaven or whoever it is. You know what I mean? They're going to want to hear these songs. Black people, on the other hand, they're looking for the next new thing every 5 minutes, like a drug addict nowadays. That's how a drug addict do. Drug addict, he looking for the next high every five fucking minutes. It's crazy, man. Y'all forgetting y'all legends and trying to replace them with new motherfuckers that don't have no talent, don't have the same regard, don't have the same pioneership, and you're trying to add in and give ad hominems to these people for whatever reason. What's going on, old guy? Yeah, man. R.P. Jesse Jackson. I'm sitting here talking. I got both the homegirls in, the old girl and Ruby Johnson. They've been with me for a minute. I'm sitting here and I'm carrying a portion of the conversation, Ruby and the old gal, um, from the contention of this. I think one is disrespectful with everything that Jesse Jackson has done. I was in the fifth grade first time I heard of Jesse Jackson. The first time I heard of Jesse Jackson, he was running for president. And I remember how excited my mother's family was that he was running for president. I didn't know who he was. Later on, I think it took me a while to figure out who he was, what he was about, and everything. But my first memory of him is running for president. I remember that very distinctively when he was running for president. There was a lot of tension um, around socially, just like it was with Barack Obama when he ran for president. And I couldn't acknowledge it then, but later on, looking back, I'm like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? Because I remember my mom's people, they used to talk about it. They'd be like, yeah, these motherfuckers, these white folks, they don't want Jesse to win. You know, the politics they were talking of the time. And so that was first memories of Jesse Jackson when he ran for president the first time. And then he subsequently ran for president, I think, a second time against Clinton or on the lines of where Clinton was going. I think it was like uh, the transition from Bush to the next president, which would have been Clinton. I think he was in that race, if I'm correct. And I might be wrong. It might be the race after that, but he was in one of those two Clinton races. I remember that. But yeah, this man ran for president two times. One of the guys that also ran for president this past time, what is his name? Crazy squiggly hair and glasses. I can't think of his name. He's a good man. He just says some crazy stuff sometimes. But he's a good man. Cornel West. He's actually a good man. Cornel West is right up the street here in Massachusetts, literally. So shout out to Cornel West. But what I was talking about, the old gal of Ruby Johnson, was I was talking about how subsequently, all of a sudden, in the past 10 or 15 years, it has been popularized to just forget these older people. As you even can see, the chat room is little. I'm talking about Jesse Jackson. Look how little the chat room is. They don't care. Pay attention. They don't care. That's why I say all the time. I've learned to know as getting older and moving through society, especially living here in the New. I'm gonna read your comment in a second. Um, and this is gonna hurt some people when I say this, but I don't mean to hurt you. It's just common simple math. I don't think me personally, at the age I'm at right now, it's a best idea to keep trying to have this continuation. And you guys don't know me, so that's why you don't understand that. This continuation of trying to link in with the culture. I don't think it's worth it anymore. I think they're giving you enough example. Even if you work with us, even if you do all this work, we're gonna forget you. There's one fellow here. His name is Joe Williams. Zoe Webster. Y'all go check that out. Zoe is one of the most pivotal people ever. I done argued with Zoe before. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, in my regard, anyway, West Coast, I we didn't fix it up. You know what I'm saying? Town business, all that I say. But I saw him one day on there, and it was Rizza Islam. He was talking about the Corey Holcomb situation at the time. Rizza Islam came through there and blessed him with the cash. But I'm like, where all them niggas that listen to him? And some of these same heads, you'll go check them out, and they'll be on hip hop podcasts where they gossiping about somebody, something like that, and they'll be donating $100. Anton Daniels had $500 to donate to Corey Holcomb. Well, why'd you spread that bread amongst other podcasters? Oh, because you had an alternative motive, ulterior motive. And we did have that speech. I may be black, but I am somebody. I am employed, but I am somebody. I am somebody. They don't think they're anybody anymore. The old gal, they don't think they're anybody anymore. Let me share this real quick so we get some more of the Negroes that care. Because as I'm sitting here talking, they zoom it out. They don't care. Told you they don't care. They did the same thing when I saw my Malcolm Jamal Warner. They don't care. Keep telling y'all that. That's why I'm proving the point. Before y'all getting into a dangerous situation and you have to find out on your own, these people don't care. They don't care about you. A video and one person or two people can't wait a second or whatever, they don't care about the subject. That's at a tentative space. I just shared this and I lost four people just by sharing it. Three more people. They don't care about no Reverend Jesse Jackson, and African Americans don't care about you. So let me tell you something in my best regard, because I ain't even gonna waste my battery life on this. I'll do something else with Reverend Jesse Jackson later on, but I want y'all to know this. The temperament. Let me explain this to you. The black people that you once knew before do not exist anymore. I want you to understand this. Other cultures have had this change happen within them before as well. The black Americans that you knew do not exist anymore. These are neo capitalists, fascists, tribalists, and most importantly, many of them are communists and have a communist manifesto within their brain that they don't even know how to extract quite yet. And when they do, we're learning from collegiate institutions and things of that nature. You're going to be in for a surprise. That's why you see a lot of people that have these controlling narratives that they come in with. You can't talk about that. I had somebody come the other day and tell me to erase one of my podcasts because they didn't like what I said. I said, "Are you out of your mind?" And they haven't wrote back to me yet. These black people that you have now are different people. I saw Corey Holcomb. I've watched Corey Holcomb sit back for I don't know how long, taking up for black people, the black people this, my people that. And I said, after all doing that, they willing to let his career be imploded. They willing to let him go down here. You better pay attention to the overall perspective here. They're willing to let Corey Holcomb go into a fucking hole and live in a hovel. Not because he did something wrong, because it makes them feel good about themselves. That's the name of the game now here online. Destroy, kill, conquer. Now, lucky enough, most of y'all ain't never played that game. I'm into this shit. Or I'm into it. And so it pains me, man, that now you're gonna have to make decisions. We'll start to see it a little bit more in 2030, I think, as people start to age a little bit more. But by 2030, you're gonna notice something that the black and it's gonna stick out to you. The black people that you knew and grew up with don't exist anymore. If you pay attention to some of the younger kids, they don't even sound like they're black kids anymore. They sound like they're like if you close your eyes, you think another white kid's talking to you with a white mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these kids are more anti-black than white kids, racist white kids or racist people. Period. The ones that are like that, not all inclusive of one culture. Of course, that's ridiculous. But I've seen. You want an example? I'll give you one. You ever been in peril and in trouble or arguing with somebody white and look around you and see three or four white black people and all of them will either act like they ain't see what's going on or they will not intervene or interact. And if they do intervene or interact, they will be there to condemn you and not condemn the person that you actually arguing with. They will take sides with them before they take sides with you, especially, I hate to say it, if it's a black woman. I've seen black women do this a million times. They will side with somebody white before they will side with you. But if they're in a moment of peril, you're supposed to have their back instantaneously. So that should let that little thing right there, it's things like that to let me know. I had a black woman, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Y'all remember that video I put up? Called the police on me over $6 that I didn't have to pay. So she then called the police on me. I had one, two, three, four, seven police officers in front of me, and this one little Spanish gentleman or biracial gentleman that was in front of me, and I had to break him down. I looked at his badge, and they don't know. I can tell the seniority by the badges they wear. He didn't think I was cognitive of this. So I broke him down. I said, "Well, this is what you're supposed to do. That's not protocol. This is procedure." Da, 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 da. And as I'm sitting there saying this, these seven cops are like, "Well, damn." You know what I'm saying? So I said, "Well, actually, she didn't follow protocol, and she could have did something totally didn't. This was a black woman that did this. You know why she did it? Because I said to her, she wanted to strong arm me, and I've seen have these black women do this before when they get into these little positions on the train. They're the only ones I ever have an issue with on the train when I'm catching the train. Black American women. I don't know what it is, but as soon as a little power with some of these girls, not all of them, but some of them, they turn batshit crazy. So this was the situation. I had missed my stop and I got up, but my stop covers the next stop as well. She didn't know that. So basically, I got up and I walked over voluntarily, walked through the cart, walked through the next door, and I said to this woman, and I should have stopped, not stopped and talked to her. I should have went and talked to the white woman. And I'm gonna tell you why. So I stopped and I said, I'm gonna give the sister a chance. So I sat there or whatever, whatever. So I said, hey, listen, I was sitting there doing something on my phone or whatever. I was paying attention. I'm sorry about that. I missed the stop. And so she said, well, there's a fare for that, so you're gonna have to pay on. I said, well, no, no, I'm just going to the next stop and then I get off. The next stop is literally 6 minutes away. 6 minutes. She said for those 6 minutes, I'm gonna have to pay her $6. I said, no, actually, what you could do is you can give me a transfer to go back to the stop that I was at. She didn't want to do that. Instead, she wanted to argue with me like I was her boyfriend. I let her get 2.8 seconds of an argument when I saw the octave in her voice change. Well, now she was going to start to talk to me like I was her boyfriend or her husband or her son. I said, no, 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 no. I said, that's okay. You could keep it. What? So you're not going to pay? I said, you don't have any power. That's why you can't give me the ticket. Because if you could give me the ticket, you would give me you would have power. So who is the conductor on the train? I'm the conductor on the train. She wasn't the conductor on the train. It was the white woman that I was going to talk to that was the conductor on the train, in charge of all the figure out. Isn't that funny? So she went and told her story, and she took her to the next cart so she could tell her the story in private, so she could say whatever she wanted to say. What I watched her do this. So when we get to the stop, the doors don't open. She thinks I'm confused and I don't know what's going on. She has called the police and told the police to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like I had just beaten her up, like I had just strong on to her, did something wrong to her, whatever. This is all recorded on camera. This is not the first time. This is the third black woman I've had this issue with, or whatever. But it was just funny because at the end of it, this little short dude, there was this little. I don't know if he was Hispanic or I don't know if he was biracial. I think he was part of MTA. He came up and he was just they're very devoted to coworkers. So he came upstairs and I just broke him down. And you hear it on camera. I'm talking about I break him down in points where he wasn't even sure if I was right or wrong. I'm like, you can't tell me. I've been riding this train since I was 16 years old. Are you out of your and y'all hear me say that? I said, I know the rules of this train like the back of my hand. I know what she was supposed to do. Now this is the funny thing. All the white workers on that train. And if anybody wanna disagree with me, you feel free to do it. All the white workers on that train, I never have an issue with. Had that if I went and asked the white woman instead of that black woman that wanted to go by the book, because this is the thing, you can't keep my job. I've had these niggas literally say to me, well, I ain't risking my job. I said, oh, you a nigga. I got you. I ain't risking my job for Mr. Charlie. Nigga, you ain't gonna come around here and start no trouble. And really, what they jealous of is I live in a better area than you. Let me tell you something. Some of those black female are some of the most ghetto. I've seen some of the chicks with blue weave in their hair, blonde weave in their hair. If you ride that train, you know what I'm talking about. They had their work presentation is horrible. And a lot of Latin women too. Your work presentation is horrible, whether in your attitude, the way you dress, or whatever. Some of these girls will come to the job and act like you live next door to them, and they have this thing where they intimately get a little too familiar with you too quick. And I don't know what it is with women doing this nowadays, but it's dangerous. I don't know you. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to know you. And so it runs into like three factors. One, they want to dominate the situation. I guess that's what it is. And they get this from watching men and think this is how men do other men. Only one thing, you ain't a man. Number two, you ain't got no muscles to enforce that. You understand what I'm saying? So what's going to happen to you? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get knocked the fuck out or hurt. Second thing is, a lot of these chicks, they try to come into a connotation of like you're their husband, which I've been seeing this more and more frequently. And I think it's lack of these women actually having husbands and boyfriends. Tell me, fellas, if y'all noticed this shit lately, I'll be out and I have an interaction with a black woman or something like that, and automatically she'll start talking to me like I slept with her last night, like I'm your husband, like I'm your boyfriend, like well, I'm a relative. No, you're a stranger. And I'm seeing more and more Latin and black women do this shit. Just coming out like I'm literally like they have the mindset like I know you. And what they're trying to enforce is I know your personality because I raised the son. Bitch, I'm not your son. So I've had this phrase lately I've been using when they do that. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about? What black dudes or Latin dudes been out here and you see an older black woman or just a black woman in general, and they'll give you these skeptical eyes like this. Like there's somebody in society. I'm like, bitch, you a secretary, you was nobody. Like what the fuck? Who the fuck? Like bitches are staring at niggas like they your mama. Have y'all not noticed this? Because I noticed a lot of this. They even got the little young Betty bitches doing it, staring at niggas like, "What are you doing?" I'm the monitor around here, like they the hall monitor at high school or something. And I'm just like, where are these bitches learning this shit from? Oh, this single mom. You been checking them for years. I've been checking them for years too. My favorite phrase nowadays is, "Bitch, I'm not your husband or your boyfriend if you do it too long." Because some of them will do the long gaze, and I'm like, "Bitch, don't you see I'm 6 fucking 3? I will stomp the shit out of you." Then you gonna want to play. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I don't play that shit, bitch. You a stranger, and you in all perimeters of the law. You get it fucked up with me, you get stomped the fuck out just like a nigga. You understand what I'm saying? I tase bitches, stab bitches, all that shit. I wear all that shit. You know what I'm saying? For real. Because for me, if a bitch gonna try to try a man, you already got in your mind that you gonna do some crazy shit. So I mean that bitch is susceptible to doing anything to you. So you gotta keep in mind that you gotta do anything to her to get up out for you. I'm dead serious. A bitch will get poked the fuck up fucking with me. For real. Please believe that. Done it before. And motherfucker waited for the police. Police showed up. I said, police, this is what she did. And here it is. You can watch the whole footage. You understand what I'm saying? And my homie was there with me when it happened, so he can verify everything I'm saying to you. Because the bitch tried to come at me with a bottle. I'm like, bitch, you're not gonna hit me with no motherfucking bottle. You out your mind. I told the bitch straight up here, and the first time y'all hearing the story, I told the bitch straight up, we had a bar. It was all having a good time or whatever. She got small with my homegirl. I said, don't talk to my homegirl like that. She did it. She stopped, and then she did it again. So really what it was the girl was ugly, and she was jealous of my homegirl. You understand what I'm saying? So I tell my homegirl, come on, let's get the fuck up out of here. So it was me, her, and my other homie. So we all three heading towards the door, whatever. The bitch starts following behind us. Like she literally started following behind us. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck this bitch gonna do. So she followed halfway out the door, and she had the bottle in her hand. She like she acted like she was going to swing the bottle and hit me in the back of the head with it. You understand what I'm saying? But I caught the bitch before she did it, so she had to jerk her hand back. I said, "Bitch, did you just try to hit me with a bottle?" I said, "Bitch, if you follow behind me one more time, I'm gonna poke you in your leg." She said, "Okay, well, fuck it. No, you won't." I said, "All right." Pop. I hit that bitch right in her motherfucker. I was making sure I ain't hit her artery or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm smart enough for that. But I poked that bitch, gave her a little love tap right there where her leg, where motherfucker, when the knee and shit connect that right there. You ain't gonna kill a motherfucker right there. Always tell about where the knee is. Hit that bitch right with the knee. I said, "Bitch, don't you ever do that shit again." I can't believe it. I'm making a scene or whatever, whatever, whatever. So I had filmed. She didn't realize I was filming the whole shit. So she had the ball, called the police. I sat right there. I said, I ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about it. I'm sitting right here. And everybody thought, "Ooh, you going to jail? He going to jail now." They was all screaming. I said, "No, I'm not." You know what I'm saying? So lo and behold, when the police show up or whatever, I said, I was protecting myself. You know what I'm saying? My peoples, they had my back or whatever. And then strangely enough, there was two or three other people that was coming out and they was talking about the bitch's behavior. That made everybody else, I guess, attentive to what actually happened. The bitch was trying to hit me with a fucking bottle. And it wasn't a small bottle. She had picked up one of the bottles from behind the fucking not the counter, the bar. I don't know how she did it, but she had picked up one of the wine bottles. So this bitch was getting ready to hit me with a wine bottle, not a beer bottle, a wine bottle, nigga. You're not gonna scar up the back of my shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, fuck that bitch. You know what I'm saying? So I know a girl that killed a guy because she got him. Yeah, this shit happens. I'm trying to tell you. I got a homie right now that I talk about all the time. My man Jay, he doing 30 years behind a bitch. And if I would have went with him, this is how keen my spidey senses are. A bitch, she stole $10,000 for some niggas that was on the block, right? I ain't gonna talk too much specific because niggas be knowing what I be talking about, but a bitch stole some money for some niggas that were on the block, if you follow me. She stole $10,000 from them, and then they came looking for her. So she dumb enough to stay around while they looking for her. Well, anyway, long story short, I don't know how many people she'd asked, but she came up to me and the homie, whatever, who was hanging, whatever. Yo, these niggas, no typical story. Yo, these niggas, shit, I stole 10 G's from them, but I ain't do it. Yeah, yeah. Come find out, yeah, the bitch did. Yeah, bitch did. Yeah, bitch stole it. So my man, she goes riding or whatever, whatever. One of the niggas see her come confront her or whatever. I don't even think he was gonna do anything to her. But my man's based off, niggas get turned up when they gotta take up for a while. I don't know why. But he got turned up with homie. Homie pulled out on him. He pulled out on homie. He ended up killing homie. And homie had a homie with him. He took off running. He was unarmed. He ended up shooting at him. But he didn't get charged with nothing for him. He got charged with killing the dude. You know what I'm saying? Kind of find out the bitch did take the $10,000. I ain't never seen that bitch since his day since. And if I did, I'd spit on her. Where my mother? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, be careful of these bitches that y'all taking up for or getting hypey about or whatever, whatever. This bitch could be selling your doom, nigga. Like yesterday, I ain't gonna say her name. I went to go contact this shorty or whatever. She know my previous with the music industry or whatever. And so first thing she did, she said some slick shit and she put Diddy name in it. And I was like, oh, okay, this how what you want. And the whole time I was trying to help the little bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you gotta watch who you trying to help. You gotta watch who you looking out for, whatever. When I say I was really trying to help the bitch, I know more people at record companies than that one. Yeah, that's your mistake for thinking that's small. You know what I'm saying? Like 17 years around the record industry, who the fuck do you think I don't know? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's funny to me when people think like that. But she tried to say some slick shit about Puff, and I was like, what the fuck Puff got to do with it? And I was just like, oh, okay, you one of them types. Let me leave you the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know Shorty. And I was just trying to read her personality, see what type of person she was. And it just made me real discouraged. But yeah, this, all in all, it's been a lot. I don't want to make this too personal, but there's a lot of women that I used to fall sucker for that shit too. And what I can tell y'all is don't fall sucker for a bitch's cries. Check out the scenery. Smart niggas gonna figure out, yo, what's going on with this bitch? Like, why she talking like this? A lot of bitches, they run their mouth because they think they got 3 or 4 niggas that's gonna come to their defense or whatever. And my motto has always been, all right, what if you don't get to call them niggas? What if we get you before you get to do any of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, say you don't make it to the phone, bitch. What then? You know what I mean? And a bitch don't think like that. Bitches just think like, average hood booger bitch. Anyway, not realizing, bitch, you can lose your life out here fucking around with the wrong nigga on the wrong day. There be days I'd be like, yo, I ain't trying to hear none of that. Especially from a bitch I'm not sleeping with. You're not my wife. You're not my girlfriend. That's the ones I really don't take no shit off of. If you're not my wife, my girlfriend, my homegirl, I should not be taking no shit off of you at any time of the day. We shouldn't be in no squabbles. We shouldn't be in no arguments. You are not my bitch. Now, whoever this bitch belong to, if you give a fuck about her, you better come get the bitch. If you give a fuck about this bitch and her existence, come get this bitch before I do something to her. That's all I've always lived by. Cause after I seen my man do 30 years behind a bitch, I'm like, yo, this nigga ain't gonna be out to 2030 fucking 4, bro. Alright? So yeah, I ain't hearing all that shit. Bitch, I'll get you the fuck up out of here if you threatening my life. So y'all watch. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's real. You know how many niggas out here is getting killed by bitches nowadays? Bitches is out here hitting niggas with cars. I saw another one where a bitch killed a nigga in his sleep. Like, there's women out here killing men. If you go Google right now, put in black women killing black men, you will see thousands of stories come up. I notice a lot of these young women act like men now. Not all, so don't attack me, but I would never attack you, the old girl. I would never attack you, Ruby Johnson. I'm not talking about women. I said the banshees, hood rats, thotties, and loudmouth hoes that never was raised by a man, or they was raised by punk ass men. That's another problem we got too. We got a lot of niggas that think they men because they go to work and do the type of work they do. Most of the time, you don't understand. You are unskilled laborer. If all you know is construction shit like that, you are unskilled laborer. No offense to anybody. If all you know how to do is take orders from a motherfucker, you're an unskilled laborer. And a lot of people don't believe that or whatever, whatever it is, what it is. A nigga saved up $60,000. That don't impress me. Now, when I know niggas that make $60,000 in 3, 4 nights, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta take an order. I've been around some real get money motherfucker. I worked for millionaires from the time I was 21 to I was 37 years old. I've had a different lifestyle than most people. You understand? And I prove it by showing the pictures or whatever, whatever. I'm not just one of these talking niggas. And I think that's what some people get fucked up about me. They think I'm talking. I'm like, I'm not talking, nigga. The niggas be in my chat room, niggas and tell you, and I show you pictures and videos of all the shit I'm talking about. No, my life was very real. Oh, the chat, fuck the chat. The chat ain't none of my friends. You a friend. The old gal, Ruby Johnson, the chat don't give a fuck about me. Then you say they ain't throw nothing in the cash app. They don't give a fuck about me. No, 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 no. I know who fuck with me. Ruby Johnson, the old gal, they always been donated, always and took care of my most chaos is caused by I don't know whether women in my opinion. Oh hell yeah, I'll comment on that in a minute. You got a point there. Um, y'all my some of my best subscribers. Y'all are actually subscribers of mine. These other people that come through here, these people don't like me or like the way I talk, or some of them don't even like people from the Northeast or whatever. They don't like me based off my accent. So they'll say whatever, do whatever, whatever, whatever. So it is whatever. They ain't gonna hit the cash app though. You gotta be one of these niggas. Yo, you gotta talk like this if you want them to hit your cash app. This how you ready? I learned it. Yeah, and these niggas out here, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna stand on business. Cause let me tell you, that bitch, she don't know who she talking to. And this motherfucker, and I heard, you know what I heard? I heard that they was sneaking people through the tunnels at Gloria Estefan's house. That's what I heard. It's we gonna expose all this. That's what we gonna do. We gonna expose all this. Y'all make sure y'all hit the cash app. We gonna expose all this. That's what you gotta do when black culture to make money. I ain't doing that sucker ass shit. You understand what I'm saying? Nah, I ain't doing that suck ass shit. 7 years I've been here. I ain't never done that suck ass shit. I ain't about to start now. So if you want to keep your money, keep your fucking money. I could give a fuck less. Rappers, people in the music industry, don't worry a retribution with you. I got y'all want to keep me broke, so I'm gonna make sure you're fucking broke. And unlike you, I'm smarter than most of you. You need assistance to help you out. I don't need assistance to help me out. That's always been the difference between me. Most of it, let me tell you something funny. You want to hear a little funny sharp take at the music? This is the funny part. Most of the people in the music industry, the majority of them, are not very smart. Okay, a lot of them are not very smart. The difference between some of us and some of us are exceptionally smart. I'm one of them. Hence the name Stringer Bell. I'm also violent than a motherfucker if I need to be. So with that being said, sometimes you have some advantages over these motherfuckers. The rappers are not going to help you either. You understand what I'm saying? I've been on here 7 years, ain't named one fucking rapper, ain't named one motherfucker in the music industry ever offered me job the first. So fuck them too. I'm friending none of you motherfuckers. Except for G Dep. G Dep, Kanye West, Jay, and a few selective others. The rest of you, go fuck yourself. And I mean that in a major way. Go fuck yourself. Who the fuck are you? Most of you are washed up and out the way out of the fucking door anyway. I look better than you, I dress better than you, and I smell better than you. You understand what I'm saying? Anything is better. You understand what I'm saying? Your bars are washed. Nobody want to hear that shit y'all talking about no more. Yo, blah, 16 keys. Nobody give a fuck about that shit no more. I give a fuck about that shit. So yeah, we gonna get all that out the way. Remember I told you. Remember I told you. I know it's funny right now, but remember I told you I'm coming, motherfucker. I'm coming. Little do you know, my comeback gonna be different, sort of. My comeback in the music industry gonna be different the way it should have been in the first place. I should have kept the shit myself. I should have never got with a label to know not the head of the label, but the people at the label, and not even my coworkers would never really have. And that's something to come to contents with. But you're getting some exclusive shit right now if you're smart. That's something to come to contention with, where certain niggas pick certain niggas because certain niggas will listen to them. Certain niggas will follow their flow, whatever, whatever, whatever. So if you talking about whatever you're talking about, I'll say this. There's tons of me floating around the music industry of niggas that niggas should have helped, niggas should have could have helped excelled, and they didn't for whatever reason in favor of somebody else or whatever. So I'm not telling no lies. So fuck them. They'll never donate a dime to me or support me in any of my endeavors, and I'm quite fine with that. I'm on my own. You understand? But I find it's really funny that the people that have always taken a liking to me, even in the early days of the music industry, have always been white people. Even when I went into bad boy entertainment, I used to always notice 1540 Broadway, the people at Random House would speak to me. The people up at Arista would speak to me. And I should have furthered those conversations, but out of loyalty, I stayed around the blacks and the Latinos. When I was over in the offices over by another building, it was the same thing. I used to run over there, run over to Sony, run over to here, and people never knew it. And I kept it very, very quiet. But those people, they'll validate that they know me. Arista, what's happening? I know a lot of people. And so what I started figuring out was when it comes to the black portion and Latin portion of the music industry, and I say more the black than the black portion of the music industry, they kind of practice the same crab in a bucket mentality that they practice here online, that they practice in the hood, etc., etc. We must take him down. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You want to hear some secrets? I'll tell you a secret. There used to be niggas that would sign niggas, and any motherfucker that wanted to argue with me, feel free. There used to be niggas, and tell me if I'm wrong, okay? There used to be niggas that would sign niggas because they knew that that nigga was going to be the competition or the nigga they invested the most money in thus far at the point. So what they would do is they would sign an upcoming nigga and shelf that nigga. Now tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. And tell me how many of y'all niggas got a nigga on contract to 2037. Oh, oh, I can tell you all kinds of, but y'all got to pay for that. I can tell you all kinds of tricks these motherfuckers do. Sign a nigga and have the nigga sitting on a contract of 2038. When your album coming out, 2038 or never worry. Homie said that's true. I know it's true. I didn't watch it being done. I didn't watch motherfuckers cut up budgets. I didn't. Sometimes people don't think you aware. Sometimes let me tell you the best thing you can do in the music industry, and I live by this. Act like you're unaware of everything that's going on. And if it ain't too extreme, you let it be. That's why I always told y'all, uh, I'm street loyal first. If I would ever seen Puff doing something to some women or whatever, I wouldn't have been the first one out of there. And now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, well, it wasn't really Puff. It was the niggas that were around Puff, seemingly, that didn't want me in the space for whatever reason. You understand what I'm saying? And it definitely wasn't the niggas directly working with me because them niggas, I love them niggas to this day. Those will always be my partners. I just talked to one of my homies I used to work with the other day, a rather light skinned gentleman. That's my partner though. But yeah, niggas. Just to answer your question as an audience, niggas in the music industry, they've had more than the opportunity to help me. You ain't never seen a nigga come over here and donate $500 to me, and I was motherfucking down there at the Diddy. They want to call it the Diddy concert, the Diddy trial rather, more than anybody. It's the only one down there rooting for Puff. Really, the rest of those motherfuckers down there. And I was under the tirade of all those people, and I was going live in front of them. Fuck them. He ain't do that shit the way y'all screaming it. Kind of find out at the end of it, he wasn't doing that shit that they were screaming. Go figure, right? I'm not looking for nothing. I don't want you to help me. I'd rather you not help me. It makes it out better for me in the end. But I will get my revenge on you motherfuckers, and I will remember you. These guys have hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal and won't come in and drop $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, but they'll go down to fucking Miami, meet some whore down there, and spend 30 grand on the fucking weekend for some vajay. They go out to California, they'll meet some broad out there at a strip club and spend 50 grand on her. Send a bitch to college. Some of them. Shit's crazy. But it is what it is. So speaking of the music business, the reason I just started that and calibrated that story, and I started out the beginning with, and I want to say again, RIP to Reverend Al Sharpton, is because I wanted to segue into Ray J. Ray J, I've said some things about you because I didn't like some of the shit you said about Puff. I ain't going to hold you. But that's still Ray J. I say it for you again. I done said some things about Ray J before. I don't think they were extreme, but I've said some things about Ray J according to what he said about Puff and things like that. But that's still Ray J. That's Brandy, little brother. And I like to say I grew up with this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? As far as the music is concerned. And so when I watched him, I'm only a few years older than him. I don't even think that. So I watched Ray J for a long, long time and always admonished him. Remember the Ray J before the Ray J you got now. And it was sad to me when I saw that there was a report that Ray J was bleeding from his eyes and that he had a patch on his heart. And I don't know exactly what's going on, but I would hope, and I say this very clearly, Ray J, I would hope you're not doing this for the camera because there's actually people that give a shit about you. I'm one of them. That's why I told the way I talked about you, whatever you fucking fuck. But we don't want you up out of here. And better yet, why are you performing on stage with bleeding eyes and a chest pump? You shouldn't even be performing, period. And I'll give you an example. Tiny Tim, he was a guy that was on the Gong Show. He became real big back in the day. Look up his story. They told him, don't go on stage because you're sick. He went in there, and there's a video of him literally keeling forward and passing out after singing a song, after the doctor's advisement that they don't do it. So I'm going to say to Ray J, I'm going to say to Ray J real clear because this ain't got to be a long message. If you are sick, Ray J, get your motherfucking ass off stage and whoever is managing you right now, say fuck you and everybody in your house. All right? That's my message to Ray J. What do you say? And Markill, I can't see no Markill Wright. Who's Markill Wright? Where they at? Hold on one second. Let me do something. Maybe I'm not seeing all the messages. Yeah, okay. Jesse Jackson passed away, not Al, big bro. You don't get it, do you? That's Al Sharpton right there. That's Jesse Jackson in the bed. That's another gentleman. What's the name? And that's Al Sharpton holding Jesse Jackson's hand. The picture that you see that's on the what's the name? That's how long Jesse Jackson. That's one of the pictures. I never knew exactly how long, but that's how far back that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton go back to. I remember that Al Sharpton when he had weight on him and he was walking through Brooklyn. So my point is, the reason that you see the picture with Al, you need to get your thoughts together, is because how long they've been friends. And as you can see right here, the correlation, the end of it all, the culmination of it all is there's Jesse Jackson holding Al Sharpton, the same man that sat next to him's hand as he's going on to the afterworld. You understand now, Markel? That's why. Y'all see what I mean? These people, they don't even know their history. They don't even know their history. And nobody will teach them because the emphasis has been put on this society and this end to assimilate. Well, let me give you something. If you are under 33 years old, the plight in society right now, you're a minority, is to assimilate you. So your children will also be assimilated, forget everything that's in their past, and become one with the dominating culture. That is the plan. And it's working. A lot of you guys don't even know who your heroes are. And I'm not making fun of Markel or anything like that. Markel's not going to donate a dime to me or hit the like button. You know what I mean? So I really don't care about that shit no more. But the fact of the matter is, what you say? I did not say RP Al Sharpton. Did anybody hear me say RP Al Sharpton? Anybody? Does anybody in the chat, did anybody hear me say RP Al Sharpton or RIP Jesse Jackson? So Markel, you're lying. And you know what I don't like, Markel? I don't like a lying nigger. I really don't. Honestly and truthfully, a lying nigga should have a fucking rock tied to their leg and find the nearest bridge. You take care, Markel, and rest in shit. You lying fucking motherfucker. What's going on, Mika? What's up? You see what I mean, old gal? Ruby Johnson, if you still here, these niggas are lying. Lying. He wanted to lie on a post about Jesse Jackson. About, you said R.I.P. Al Sharpton. I didn't say anything like that. So you came here to disrupt so we start arguing with each other. The woman tells you what it is, and you still arguing and bickering so you can look like you're right. That's a nigga that's raised by a bitch. Bitches come in wanting to argue with niggas and get their points across, not men. I keep telling you, these niggas raised by bitches is a problem. I stay away from niggas, bitches that got kids and they boys. I don't like bitches that got boys and they ain't got nothing but a whole bunch of women around. I can't stand a bitch like that. I can't stand a bitch like that. And I always watch them because there's going to be some shit to come with them. You just got to wait for it. You heard? Just got to wait for it. It's coming. Give me a second. I'm gonna adjust this real quick and send this out. Get some more people in here. Oops. Get some more people in here. They got some money, cause for some reason or another, type of shit I be talking about. Yeah, I'm done with that. Trying to match with niggas and I don't march with, I don't kick it with no niggas that's coming in here trying to start problems. You know what I'm saying? Nigga came in here a black dude. I thought you said. Sound like a bitch. I never said. No disrespect, but he never said that about. No, I got rid of that nigga. He gone, old gal. He gone. Fuck that bitch ass nigga. He came in here on purpose to do that. I keep trying to tell you these niggas is bitches. That's what bitches do. Bitches come in here, not women. Bitches come in here and try to start arguments in the space when we talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson. Talking about, I thought you said R.I.P. Al Sharpton. I said, I ain't right. Shit that said R.I.P. Al Sharpton. Now you came in here just to throw that in the mix so you can start everybody paying attention to you. That's how selfish these niggas are. I keep trying to tell y'all, man. Y'all think it's a joke, man. These niggas don't give a fuck about you. If you are, let me tell you something real quick, right? Like I said, Ray J, I hope you get well and everything get better. I hope you're not pulling all wool over our legs. This is a promotional stunt or whatever. First of all, let me say that about Ray J. I hope not. So let's get well, Ray J. If you are sick, if you're not sick, fuck on that trick on us. All right, I'm gonna say it like that. Now the next thing I want to say is this. Dear Black American men, this is the best fucking advice I could give you for 2026 is Black History Month. These people don't care about you. They are trying to take you out. They don't care about you. They don't care about your legacy. They don't care about Reverend Al Sharpton. They don't care about Jesse Jackson either. You understand what I'm saying? You are in danger. And at any given time, other niggas will side with bitches that want to get you out the way so they can find their own husband like Eve did, their own husband like Venus and Serena did, and get you out of the way subsequently in a long range idea osmosis. Be careful. Be careful. It's niggas and bitches that want to get rid of you worse than the KKK. It's the truth. It's the truth. You got niggas out here and bitches out here that are Black American that want to get rid of you quicker than the Klan or anybody else. Just like that nigga that just came in here a few minutes ago. No, you never said Al Sharpton passed away. You were talking about Jesse Jackson. I know I did. I did. That's why I don't like going live that much because you always go get some troublemaking dude to come in here. The dudes that come in here are worse than the women. The women will come out most of the time and sit back and just listen to what you got to say. The men that come in here, if they're not throwing some gay in the window, and I mean literally LBGT gay in the window, they're not throwing some comedy in the chat room or they follow to go key, and everything is cynical. Everything is observant based on the merits of a nigga that didn't even graduate the 8th grade. You know, this is the type of people you got to deal with, and then you got to realize they're all from different localities in the United States. So, you know, The way they play in Ohio ain't the way we play here in New York City tri-state. You get what I'm saying? So that's funny to him down there, but up here, that shit can get your life taken. See, so it's you let it go. I used to get upset and argue with people, tell niggas, yo, send your address, whatever, with them. Now I just look at it, just that's what they do. That's why I said I'm better off knowing and not dissing. I'm not gonna attribute to dissing black culture. I'm just watching the behavior and I'm like, these are not the same black people I used to know. And if you're sitting up here saying these are the same black people that were from 10 or 15 years ago, I don't know who these motherfuckers are, but whoever they are, it seems like a demon, some alien spawn, or something has taken over them. These tortured, weird ideas that they have, this insistence on tribalism over society, this insistence on separation, this insistence on. I'm like, who are these people? These are not like the Comrade Muhammad's I remember. These are not like many of these other people that I've listened to my whole entire. Who are these people with these weird ideas of communism, fascism, and these are Black Americans, tribalism. So it's scary as fuck to know